Guys, one of the biggest gun control laws that the federal government leans on all the time is USC 922G. And what I'm going to tell you about right now is another gun group that has heeded a judge's request for information, historical analogs, and they proceeded to destroy the law the judge was asking about. In this case, we're talking about Gun Owners of America. Now, Gun Owners of America and Gun Owners Foundation have teamed up with the Tennessee Firearms Association and submitted this amicus brief in the Fifth Circuit in the case of U.S. v. Daniels. Now, U.S. v. Daniels, you heard a couple days ago because SAF and FPC also submitted amicus briefs and thoroughly eviscerated this unconstitutional gun control.
Before I jump into that, I want to thank the sponsor of the video, and that's Lear Capital. Inflation is killing our wallets at the pump and the grocery store. Interest rate hikes are killing our small businesses and the economy. Banks are failing. The dollar is failing. And it seems to be getting worse day by day. But the good news is that we can protect ourselves and our financial futures by holding tangible assets like gold and silver. So why wait? Do what I did and call my friends at Lear Capital. They helped me purchase my gold and silver and showed me just how easy it actually is to add physical gold or silver to an IRA or a 401k. Give them a call today. It's 1-800-260-5075 or check them out at leargg.com. Links and phone number will be down in the description for you. Once again, that's leargg.com or 1-800-260-5075.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared. This is Guns and Gadgets. If you're into the Second Amendment, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, or anything that happens in our community, whether it's litigation or legislation, subscribe down below. I will keep you in the loop. Help me get to 650,000 subscribers for my birthday, if possible. I'd love it. And that's July 25th. Thank you for your support. So, what is 922G3, and why is this judge asking for help? So, U.S. v. Daniels is the case, and a judge, this is in the Court of Appeals, this person's facing 10 years in prison, $250,000 fine, because 922G3 says, and I'll paraphrase for you, that if you are addicted to any type of illicit substance, then you shall lose your Second Amendment for life. Alcohol, any other controlled dangerous substance, okay? And there are no historical analogs. This never happened throughout the text nor the history or tradition of this country's firearm regulation. So a judge, in hearing this case, on review, on appeal, the judges are saying, listen, there's nothing here as far as amicus briefs. If anybody wants to please help out and give us some historical data, please do that. Well, like I said before, SAF and FPC have already done this, and GOA did it as well. I just didn't get a chance to record this. But this is the case right here. U.S. v. Patrick Darnell Daniels Jr. And listen to GOA's argument. This is good stuff. Wait till you hear what they also say in the conclusion. It says, the interplay between intoxicating substances and firearms presents no novel societal issue. Indeed, the framers of our Constitution likely had far greater familiarity with matters involving intoxicating substances and weapons than presently. In fact, the old troops used to have alcohol as a ration. To be sure, there were certain types of behaviors which occasionally subjected persons to temporary limitations, but those sporadic historical antecedents provide no support for the broad, semi-permanent elimination of Second Amendment rights contained in 18 U.S.C. 922G3. Rather, any historical regulations from the founding era implicating firearms and intoxicating substances generally applied only when persons were actually under the influence. To borrow the words of U.S. District Judge Patrick Werrick, when addressing this very issue, our founders, quote, took a scalpel to the right of armed self-defense, end quote, rather than a sledgehammer. Those in positions of authority in the late 18th century never would have agreed to such broad and arbitrary characterizations of Americans, such as in 922G3, who could then be prohibited from exercising one of the central pre-existing rights that they had just fought against the British to secure. A couple quick things because I love the way they wrote this. Under the historical analysis required in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, today's Section 922G3 fails the framers' standard. The current statute lacks any meaningful semblance to the historical tradition instead imposing an unprecedented categorical prohibition on all so-called addicts and unlawful users of federally controlled substances, irrespective of whether they are actually in possession, actively using, or currently intoxicated at the time they possess firearms. 922G3 takes a sledgehammer to the Second Amendment and therefore is unconstitutional. Now, GOA does address some policies that were adopted by different states related to militia and stuff like that, but those only affected non-commissioned officers, not commissioned officers, they were exempt, and only affected the folks if they were actually drunk at the time under the influence of alcohol. They were removed from drill. This is only for military drills. They were disarmed while they were drunk and put on guard, and then they were fined up to $8. So it was only a temporary issue, and they were admonished after that. There are no relevant historical analogs which support Section 922G3. For 85% of our nation's history, people were free to possess firearms even if they sometimes used intoxicating substances. Virtually all Americans of the time did. In contrast, Section 922G3's broad ban on firearm possession is a novel one, dating back only to 1986, when it was enacted as part of the ironically named Firearms Owners Protection Act. Indeed, for the great bulk of our nation's history, intoxicants and firearms were addressed much differently. At most, criminalizing the carrying of arms while a person was currently in a state of impairment. If such conduct was criminalized at all, the vast majority of jurisdictions did not. Now, GOA also addresses in here the FBI's point of view. The FBI says that the mere possession of any controlled dangerous substance or even quote-unquote drug paraphernalia, according to the FBI, is enough to ban you from your Second Amendment rights. Even more, the FBI says that if you have used any of these items within the last year, then you should be barred of your Second Amendment rights. For life? So if you were a user of a drug or even alcohol, and you've come clean and sober, well, if you've used it within the last year, then the FBI says you're a prohibited person. So the takeaway is all of these gun controls that are addressed in this U.S. v. Daniels case come after adoption of not only the Second Amendment, but the 14th Amendment. So this covers both time periods mentioned in Bruin. So this law is unconstitutional. Check out this conclusion. It may seem surprising that Americans at the time of the founding had no great concerns about mixing intoxication and firearms, but modern sensibilities and expectations cannot make the government's case. To be sure, in the founding era, some lawmakers and military leaders sporadically imposed some limitations on intoxicants and firearms, but none came close to the heavy-handed categorical prohibition Congress invented in 1986. The Constitution demands reversal of Mr. Daniels' conviction. Now, guys, like the title and the thumbnail say, the anti-gunners, the people who solely want to control the populace by disarming them, they are shaking in their boots. The founding pillars of gun control have been fractured, and they're crumbling. They're crumbling rapidly. And the anti-gunners are scurrying. They're trying everything they can. And now this law, which has put a lot of people in jail, is ready to fall as well. Let me know what you guys and gals think down below. I know this is a subject that a lot of people see different ways on. But just because... hell, let's address the question that everybody's going to be thinking about. The marijuana question on your 4473. Just because you've smoked marijuana within the last year, does that mean that you are inherently dangerous? Now, it took me a long time to get to that opinion that I just told you, a long time. Because our rights are our rights. And you don't lose your rights very easily. So, let me know what you guys and gals think about that down below. I'd love to hear from you. And I thank you for all of your love and your support. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it so more people see it. Just had some nice lightning. And I will see you all on the next one. Take care.